So Shane Gillis weighed in on the Jimmy Kimmel thing. You guys know I gave a lot of my thoughts on that last week. A lot of people agreed with me. A lot of people disagreed. But this is the other side that I did mention. And I think Shane kind of perfectly encapsulated it. And I got to give the right credit. I know everyone thinks I'm a big lib, but I will give the right credit on this. At least we did not get riots in the streets, you know? It is like they were unhappy and they tried to get Jimmy Kimmel. Kimmel kept his job. There was no bloodshed. They weren't burning down businesses or doing anything. There was no looting that happened because Jimmy Kimmel got his job back. So I will say that in their favor. And Shane makes another good point when it comes to the crowd that was defending Jimmy Kimmel.
It's funny, but everyone's back, dude. You can't, free speech, comedians rule. We are the vanguards of truth.
Finally, the philosophers are fucking. Yeah. Dude, the second the government starts censoring us, fascism is right around the corner. No, it was good though. It was good to see everybody stick up for him for free speech, and I'm just glad they were all there for me back in 2019. He's my brother and being canceled now. He was canceled for what was that, 48 hours? Yeah. Mine was a couple years, but no big deal. What's the difference?
He had to hold tight. He had to hold tight in probably a very nice kind of modern house on the hills in LA. He had to sit there and just.
You mean he didn't have to lay on a mattress in Queens with two snarky roommates that were like, "Oh, did you write that apology?" Yeah, I could tell.
Yeah, that's another reason Shane is the best example of someone that has been canceled. Is he was canceled before he had a career. Like, he was canceled when no one really... People found out his name and were like, oh, I guess that's a racist guy because Anthony Jeselnik told me so, Like, people had this opinion of him before they knew who he was, and he was able to overcome that, which has always been very impressive to me.
What the fuck?
Crybaby Kimmel.
It's nice.
Crybaby Kimmel is my new
Crybaby Kimmel.
I do like how he was. I saw a snippet. And
I liked
nice.
what he was saying.
It was
nice, yeah.
We need
Did you hear
unification.
that when he called Rogan a moderate, and one lady in the crowd thought that was a joke? She was like, "Ha!" You can hear it. You're like, "Oh, you got that wrong, bitch."
That was. Did you watch Kimmel's apology or whatever you call it? His monologue, Casey.
I did.
That was. I noticed the air gets sucked out of the room. I think that was like the closest we'll ever get Kimmel to give a nod to the other side and be like, "Hey, I appreciate people sticking up for me," because he called Joe Rogan a moderate, and it got like a slight laugh in the room. You could hear how uncomfortable that audience was with him calling Rogan a moderate, because they all want Rogan to be like this right-wing guy so badly. And Rogan's done a lot of things in the last year that would, make that a valid opinion. But like, I still think at the end of the day, Rogan is somewhat moderate and level-headed. And that sucked the air out of the room. That audience didn't know what to do. The clapping monkeys that will do whatever Kimmel says had no fucking idea how to react to that when he was like, yeah, people in the middle like Joe Rogan.
No one else around you laughed. It was you being a nasty lib.
Yeah, she can't be nasty. No one can be nasty now. We got to knock it off.
Try not to be nasty.
I'm never nasty.
Sean Gardini. So I liked Shane's opinion on that, and that is the other side. Ultimately, I have seen people give me shit for being like, "Oh, you overreacted." I don't agree with that. I think when ABC pulls someone indefinitely, that usually doesn't mean Jimmy Kimmel's gonna have a long weekend and he'll be back on Tuesday. That's not usually what that means. And the FCC was weighing in, so I don't think you could find anything I don't stand by. You can't find anything that said on that I don't stand by. You can't find any text I don't stand by. So I did like Shane's response, though, because that is the other side of that, where like the liberals were just as ridiculous as the conservatives on this, because they were all literally saying, and this was my point, not that, I barely have an audience now. I certainly didn't in 2016. It's not that my words mean anything, but the idea that like if I talked about Roseanne or Shane or any of these other instances, the responses I would get or the responses I would see like out in the world, in the media, whatever, it was copy-paste to what the right was saying. And when I saw Dave Portnoy say, hey, there's consequences for words. Words have consequences. Freedom of speech. He's not in jail. When I saw a guy like Portnoy saying that, I was like, what the fuck is going on? Where literally it's just you're following whatever your politics force you to follow instead of what you believed. And Shane is a rare guy that I think always kind of follows what he believes because I don't know why this made news this week. I think it was actually in Mark Maron's special, the joke he made, where Maron actually had a funny joke about this Riyadh Comedy Festival. He goes, how are they promoting it? From the people that brought you 9/11, which I thought was pretty funny. But for some reason, that was a story this week. I know the Zach Woods video, I think, was older too. But people were reporting it, and you know how the media is so accurate with everything. They're like, Mark Maron and Shane Gillis slam their fellow comedians. That's not exactly what Shane did. But this is Shane talking about the offer he got from the Riyadh Comedy Festival.
I should have taken it. I got to take the Saudi Arabia deal. I should have taken it. I'm washed.
So I do get the fact that they perpetrated 9/11.
I'm not doing it.
That is good. I admire that.
Then they doubled the bag, and I was like,
They doubled the bag, the princes?
it was a significant bag.
What?
But I'd already said no. You know, I took a principled stand.
Yeah, against Saudi Arabia.
It wasn't even that. I didn't even think about it.
I thought we were allies with
I didn't
Saudi
even
Arabia.
really think. Yeah, we are. We give them a ton of.
So why the hell did they do 9/11 to us?
Wasn't it Osama bin Laden just from Saudi Arabia?
Every single hijacker basically
Yeah.
is Saudi.
Yeah, you don't 9/11 your friends, bro.
Oh, 9/11 your friends.
You don't.
Up and go over and go, hey guys,
So
you guys
true,
want to talk about? I was in 7th grade when you guys did that. It was nuts.
But that is like, so again, the headlines are when they're like, Shane Gillis slams his fellow comedians. That didn't really happen. Like, Shane has this ability to allow other people to project their politics on him. Like, people that are mad at this Riyadh Comedy Festival can be like, hey, he stands with us. People that love Trump can be like, hey, he stands with us. People that hate Trump can be like, hey, he stands with us. It's an ability that Louis had years ago where, like, you're able to project whatever you believe onto him and be like, oh, that's what he's saying. I think Carlin had that ability too, where you're like, oh, he believes in what I believe because of this thing he said. Where it's like, no, it's a joke that he made, that you are kind of twisting your perception of it to fit your argument. But Shane just basically said, yeah, I turned it down, and that's really it. He didn't pass judgment on it or anything. I will say the Burr thing, Crack Amico put out a good song this week, diss tracked all the comedians at the Riyadh Comedy Festival. And one of the lines, I forget, I'm not going to rap it for you. But
Please do every line.
one of the lines he had about Burr was basically saying that he hates U.S. millionaires and loves Saudi billionaires, which is such a good point. I was like, yeah, you know what? Fuck him. Like, it finally kind of turned me. If Craig could have put it into lyrical form like that, I think he would have convinced me. Because that was the moment I was like, yeah, he talks about these millionaires and how they're ruining the world and everything. And if someone from Saudi Arabia offers him enough money, he's like, I'll tell a few yucks. I'll go over there. So good for Shane for seemingly being the only person in comedy that was like, nah, I'm good. You know? The skirt actually made a great point. And I think the reason, like, I respect Shane Gillis so much more than a lot of these other people is she goes, Mark Maron probably wasn't offered that gig. She's like, good for Shane for actually turning it down. Like, Maron can bitch about it all he wants, but if they offered Maron $2 million, I don't know if Maron's turning it down, And I imagine if you're basing it on Tim Dillon getting $375K and them doubling Shane's offer, I would think he's well into 7 figures.
Yeah, easy.
Whatever he turned down, I would imagine is well into 7 figures. So good for Shane for having principles and not preaching them. That's the thing. Is like my takeaway is he did that, which is great, and also those headlines want to make him out to be this guy who stomped his foot down and said, "No, the comedian should follow my lead." And it's like, no, he didn't do that either. Like he didn't wag his finger at anyone. He just said what he did, and no one needed to follow that, and that was good enough for him.
He just turned down for what for everyone else would be life-changing money.
Yeah.
Just stared at the camera like the...
What I'm amazed by with a lot of those guys, and we talked about with Tim Dillon too, it's like, if you're Bill Burr and they offer you $4 or $5 million, which is, I'm guessing what Burr got, maybe 10? Like Chappelle, the number I've seen is 10 million. Those guys would make that up pretty quickly with a few tour dates. You know what I mean? I get it's one day, all expenses paid, you're traveling in style, all of that. But like those guys could do that anyways. and they would make up that money in a few weeks. Like it's not for them. It is not life-changing money. For
No.
Even for Tim Dillon, it's not really. Like Jessica Kirson, maybe some of those other people. But
How does a Saudi prince get a Blind Mike Project live show? What is the dollar amount to get Blind Mike over to Saudi Arabia?
what did Stuttering John just request? Oh no, it was Steel Toe. Steel Toe said he'll do blackface for $2,000.
Seriously?
Yeah. So if Steel Toe does, if they get Steel Toe to do that, I'll go.
Go to blindmike.net for everything Blind Mike. Look at me. I did it. Kragers did it.